So my name's Ceara Rickard. I work in the Life Without Barriers National Mental Health team. Essentially what my job is to support all of our mental health teams across Australia to do the best work they can do. So that's through helping them to design services with people we support. It can be through putting together training to help the teams learn new skills. It can be through, really just asking questions to learn what people need and then doing those things. So it's a pretty cool role that involves a lot of different stuff. I've worked at Life Without Barriers for over 12 years now across 2 states and lots of different jobs, but all in mental health. I've worked in South Australia and I've also worked in Tasmania. And my current role covers the entire country. So whilst I live on Paramount country in South Australia, I also might fly over to Perth to work and support our teams, or down to Tasmania as well, or I might put together services in different states. My day-to-day can look like all sorts of different things. So for example, I might be spending one day putting together a manual for a team where I'm just sitting at my desk and typing and reading and looking at research, but another day might look like talking to multiple different people in different teams across the country and providing a little bit of support or help to reflect on how they're working. It might be flying to a different state to deliver a full day of training where I'm presenting about lots of different topics. It might be facilitating our mental health community of practice where we all get together online and talk about how we support people best and learn new things together. So there's not really a standard day-to-day for me. It's a little bit different to those of us who are working directly with people, but it's all about supporting that work. For me, it's because I grew up never really feeling very safe and never really feeling like I fit in, and so I have my own lived experience of mental distress. And I went to university to study psychology, and when I was at university I was learning all about the ways in which I was abnormal whilst having therapy for things that I was struggling with, right? And it wasn't really until I went to a placement in a peer-led support service that I really felt that I had found the community and knew what I wanted to do. So even though I went through university and did placement and I'm now a psychologist and a counsellor, I think in my soul I'm very much a peer worker, and I use my lived experience of distress and recovery to support how I support our teams. And when I was working directly with people, I also used it to provide that hope and mutuality and care to support people in their journey of recovery. The thing that I find most meaningful about the work is when I get to see that our teams are doing work that help people to thrive and to live their lives the way they want to live them. It's just the greatest privilege to be able to support that happening and to put things in place that allow our teams to do that work really well. I used to work directly, and then the most meaningful thing was that walking alongside people and being there and being able to bear witness to people's lives and their struggles and their resilience and their strength. And so even though now I don't do that work, it's all about contributing to that, and it's just the most amazing feeling in the world to feel that I'm doing my little bit to help the world be that bit better. I align with all of Life Without Barriers values in different ways, and I think for me though, the biggest one is probably respect and all the things that come with that. So for me, respect is about respecting people's individual autonomy and journey, and if you approach your work with respect, it means that you will have all the other values. You'll have courage, you'll be putting relationships first, because anything else would not be showing that value of respect. It's being responsive as well, because that's respectful too. And it's understanding human rights and thinking about how do we support people from a human rights perspective to live their lives on their terms. I am a huge believer in self-care and also in community care, right? Like, I don't like the idea of self-care being this thing that you just do as an individual person on your own, off in the wild. It's about connection for me, and that can be connection with other people, but it can also be connection to things that are meaningful for me. So some examples of things that I do for self-care: I draw, I paint, I go on massive road trips around the country, I chase the aurora australis and sit on deserted beaches in the middle of the night taking photos of black I also really get a lot of meaning from activism and from advocacy and speaking up, and even when that's really difficult, if I am doing things that are meaningful, that feel purposeful, that's actually self-care for me as well. That's really, really important. And I kind of approach things from the idea that, none of us are around forever. So what is the legacy that I'd like to leave? How do I want the world to be? Do I want it to be better when I'm gone? And if I do and I'm working towards that, that's actually looking after me as much as it is looking after the world. I've learned so much from the people I've supported. It's been the most incredible privilege. I've learned that there's always hope, even when things are dark, even when horrible things have happened in people's lives that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. There is always hope for a better world, a better life, and for recovery. I've learned about the power of human connection as well. So not just with me as service providers, but of being able to connect with one's community, of being able to connect with not just those formal services that we hear about where you refer people to places, but about even just being able to go to the shops and having the same person at the checkout every time and saying hello, or going for a cup of coffee, or going for a walk and connecting with nature. I think that power of connection, and I've seen time and time again that when I've worked with people whose worlds have become very small because of the things that they've experienced, it is incredible seeing what happens when their worlds get bigger. I would say do it if you've taken some time to really reflect and to consider what your values are and how they align. Mental health is an area to work in when you have deep respect for other people and you have compassion and empathy, and also though the ability to allow people to make their own decisions. Sometimes when we work in mental health, it means that we have to hold lots of uncertainty. We might be working with people who are really distressed, who have lots going on in their lives, and it's really important when you work in mental health to understand that people are tougher than we think, and so we can be there as a support, but we also need to make sure that we're able to get out of our own way and other people's ways a little bit to give them the space to be able to thrive and to live on their own terms. So I love working in mental health. I really love supporting people who are interested in working in mental health as well. That's another part of what I do, and it is just such a joy to work in the field. Yes, I've stayed at Life Without Barriers for 12 years, including moving interstate to be able to stay working at Life Without Barriers. For me, what I value most about Life Without Barriers is the way I am included, the accessibility and the organisational values. So I live with really significant disability and health problems that have meant sometimes I've had to take a year off work and I've had to change jobs to be able to continue to work. And what I've really loved about working at Life Without Barriers is that instead of seeing my health problems as a liability, they're seen as another thing that I can bring in terms of lived experience, and my needs are accommodated for with flexibility so that I can continue to contribute in a really meaningful way.